Good evening, good day, and welcome to More Yoga's Connection Cafe. My name is Yvonne, and I'm one of the restorative and hatha yoga teachers with More Yoga. This version of Connection Cafe is called Yoga Journeys, and it's something that I devised last summer because More Yoga asked me to create a space for yogis of color when the unfortunate killing of George Floyd happened. So the space I came up with was to amplify voices, to share the journeys of yogis of color. The questions are the same, but the answers, you'll understand, are beautifully different. So I've had the pleasure of hearing many yoga journeys since last August, coming up to a year now. And today is no different. I have the pleasure of introducing you to a wonderful teacher. And I'm going to attempt to read her full name. She's going to do the correct pronunciation because I'm sure I'm going to get it wrong, but I'm going to give it a go. Right. Welcome to Amarnah, Ufuoma, Cleopatra, Osajivbe-Amuludun. Welcome. Hello. So marks out of 10. How did I do with your name?
I'd say it was a strong 6.
6, so not that good, really.
7. It's all right, don't worry.
Correct it. Okay, so come on. What should it be?
Amarnah.
Ufuoma.
Yeah, Ufuoma. Cleopatra, Osajivbe-Amuludun.
Beautiful.
Actually, maybe I was harsh. Maybe you're like a strong 7.5.
It's okay. It's all good. It's all good. Thank you so much. One more time.
Amarnah, Ufuoma, Cleopatra, Osajivbe-Amuludun.
Beautiful. Well, welcome, Amarnah, to Yoga Journeys. So before I get into the regular questions, I always like the guest, the yogi, to introduce themselves as they would like to be introduced. So, you know, the whole, if you met somebody in a lift and you only had 30 seconds to introduce yourself, how would you introduce yourself? Do you say you're a yoga teacher, a dancer? You know, how do you pitch it? You're in the lift.
Okay, I would say I'm a multi-disciplinary artist. I trained as a contemporary dancer, so I'm a professional dancer, but I also act and sing and teach. I teach dance and movement to professionals and non-professionals, for all ages, children to elderly people. But I'm also a yoga teacher. Yes.
Amazing. That is wide variety. I like that multidisciplinary artist.
I'm also a hairdresser, so I do dreadlocks for people too. So
really,
yeah.
Hey, they're coming back. That's wonderful. Yeah, it's all about strings to the bow, especially in this new world that we're in. Thank you so much for sharing. So, are you ready for the Yoga Journeys questions? Okay, first one, honoring our ancestors. Please share with us your family lineage.
So my parents were born in London, England, like me. My grandparents are from Nigeria. Both of my parents met in the UK, but both of their parents are from Nigeria, different parts. So my mum's side is Yoruba, from Ijebu-Ode and like surrounding villages. And my dad's side is Orobo, from Delta State in like a town called Sapele and surrounding villages.
Amazing.
Yeah.
Have you been yet?
Yes, I actually went for the first time 2 years ago. Yeah, 2017, in November for 2 weeks.
Okay.
Yeah, and it was a funny situation. Well, it was a bittersweet situation. I'd been planning and wanting to go for probably like the last 7 years, but it didn't quite happen. First of all, it was money, so I was saving, and then eventually I saved, and then it was like circumstances weren't like quite right for family and stuff, and my grandma was like telling me to wait to go with her, my mum's mum. And then it got to a point where I was like, okay, I'm just going to book these 2 weeks in November in 2018, a year in advance. I was like, right, these 2 weeks in November, I'm not accepting work, because as you probably know, freelance life, you say yes to everything until you forget that you have no time for yourself.
Yes,
So I was like, okay, a year in advance, boom. This 2 weeks, I'm not going to be here. I'm going to be in Nigeria. Whatever happens, I'm going to Nigeria. I don't care. And then sadly, my dad's mother passed away in August 2019. It's okay. She was suffering for a while, so I'm happy that she's at peace now. But she was buried back in Nigeria. She lived for a long time here, and she passed away here in London. But then
she wanted to go home.
Yeah. So they buried her where she, like on her compound, where her family are from. Her family there live, and the burial was bang smack in the middle of those 2 weeks that I booked a year and a half.
Right. Wow.
A year in advance. And then
wow.
So it was like divine timing. It was perfect. Yeah.
But isn't it interesting that you booked it clear a year in advance, but you were still there to be able to be part of her homegoing?
Yeah.
Wow. That's pretty special.
Yeah.
Wow, thank you for sharing. So please do bring in, obviously, your multi-disciplines when I'm asking you these questions, because I appreciate it's not pure yogi for you. So do bring in your other training. So I'm going to ask you when, where, and with whom was your first yoga teacher training, but obviously please do bring in your dance training as well.
Sure. I've been moving and dancing and using my body and performing since I was about 5 or 6 years old.
Wow.
And it started off with like ballet when you're young, and I was in a little show actually called Snow White, and I was Snow White, black, snow black, white, what?
Love it.
So that was like, I was kind of, it was a hobby up until I was 14, on and off. And then when I was 14, I started contemporary dance at this place called Laban, and they're really great because they have a lot of youth classes in the evenings, and they're really cheap. So they were £1 at the time.
Oh wow.
And I think now they're like £2, but they try and make it affordable for the area. So I used to go there like twice a week, 3 times a week. And then I started this training program, Center for Advanced Training, when I was 14, 15. And that was like a Saturday school and it was one of the first ones in the country that was for contemporary, because there's a lot of like stuff like that for musical theatre, for ballet, for jazz, for street, but contemporary, it was at the time. So this was like 15 years ago now. Yeah, there wasn't as many, there wasn't that kind of training for contemporary, for young people for contemporary. It was either go to university or adults, but not for young. So anyway, I started doing this kind of pre-vocational training in contemporary dance on a Saturday from 10 till 5, and then in the evenings twice a week, ballet and another contemporary technique. And then I also did like a youth company. So I was basically dancing 4 to 5 times a week from like the age of 14. And then when I was 16, I decided I wanted to be a dancer. So being at that youth program, that training program for children, for young people, I was in the first for the first time in an environment where I was surrounded by people who weren't just dancing as a hobby, but they were like, no, I want to be a dancer. And I was like, oh, excellent.
Yeah, I do too.
Yeah. Oh, sick. Maybe I do too. And then suddenly it was like, boom. It was like the decision was made. There was no decision. It was like, this is the only option. This felt like so right. And it felt like no choice. It was just, boom, okay, let's do this then. Which is quite lucky when you're 14 or 15 to have
absolutely, yes. And it never wavered. Did nothing ever creep in to take you from the dance?
If anything, I started with music. My love for dance started with music. So I used to play piano, and I got up to grade 6 or something. And then dance actually wavered me out of the piano. So even though wavered me out of music, like dance is music, music is dance, right? So I was still very closely connected to music, but I stopped training in piano when I started dancing when I was 16. I went to the Brit School of Performing Arts.
Oh, wow.
And I focused on dance there for 2 years, and I did A-levels and a BTEC National Diploma. And then when I was 18, I joined a conservatoire called London Contemporary Dance School.
What's a conservatoire?
It's basically, a conservatoire is like a university, but specialized in one specific field, like music. You can have music conservatoires, drama conservatoires, dance conservatoires.
Okay.
So like for example, like RADA or Lambda, or like they're like acting theatre conservatoires. Trinity, or like Guildhall is like a music one.
Yes. Oh, I see. Okay. Yeah. So these schools are, okay, right.
Yeah, exactly. So you get a degree, but it's not in a university. It's like, it's under, so it's part of, my conservatoire is part of Kent University. So that was our governing body, but then from Kent, they're connected to a circus school, a dance school, a music school, and a theatre school. So you can still get a degree, like a BA, but it's different. Whereas when you go to uni, there's a bit less contact time. Maybe you have like 3 lectures a week and like 2 seminars, and maybe you're there for like 10 hours max for the whole week. Whereas at dance school, I was there like 45 hours, 50 hours a week.
Wow.
Like 8:45 till 6, 5 days a week. It was intense.
Okay. Wow. So where did the yoga start to creep in now?
Yeah, sorry.
Okay. No, carry on.
So actually the first time I did yoga was with my mum when I was 10.
Okay.
She went to Goldsmiths College, and she used to do these like adult yoga classes, and I just used to come
okay.
massive like hall. So that was the first time I started yoga. And then throughout dance training, yoga was very much an important part of
the training.
Right. A way to, like, obviously within yoga, there's like the body, the mind, and the spirit. And within the kind of context of dance training, I feel like there was, as a young person, I was kind of connected to the body part of it more so than the mind and the spirit. But as I've grown up, grown into it, I've connected to the mind and the spirit part of it. But at the time when I was training in dance, the yoga part was like a chance to stretch, right? To stretch. And, so to gain flexibility, there was a lot of like this idea of goals. So that was like my first contact with yoga. But then I realized quite quickly that if you just focus on the body, my gosh, the amount of hamstring pulls I got with yoga, I had a really difficult contact with it in the first few years, between like 16 and 21. My relationship with yoga, I found it quite stressful.
Okay.
because I was focused on the body.
Yes. And not breathing. Yeah.
Not breathing, not presence, not like just like trusting. It was like push, because in dance training, a lot of
course,
like,
you had to get to a goal. Of course. Yeah.
And so I was kind of in that. But then when I left uni and I had an injury to my knee and I couldn't dance for 2 years.
2 years? Wow. Gosh.
I had an operation on 2 operations on my knee. And that was when I started to see yoga as a chance to just be with my body and my mind and my spirit, and to just relax, actually.
Wow.
To get to know myself in a different way, in a more quiet way that was more patient. And that really helped me be patient with my dance training. So like when I went back to dance school, I was a lot more grounded. And able to accept my body. I think when I was 18, 19 training, I was always trying to be someone else, trying to get to a goal that never looked like me, really. And especially like in a contemporary school in the UK, it's quite a white space. There's diversity in terms of like, it's international, but at the same time, it's like European international, or that there weren't that many people of color.
Okay.
So obviously the ideal of ballet is like a white skinny person with no bum, and I was like trying to be that, and it was like impossible. Obviously, that's why I got injured. And then
you hadn't come across Ballet Black by then. They hadn't started by then.
They probably had, but I just wasn't necessarily.
You didn't know them. Yeah.
Yeah.
It's okay.
So then when I my first yoga training was actually with one of my friends, Letitia, and it wasn't straight yoga. It was a kind of combination called dynamic body.
Okay.
And that was some yoga like it was grounded in yoga asanas, at the same time mixing it with contemporary dance and mobility. So there was some sort of body conditioning involved, but then there was also the way that I taught it anyway, and the way that we were taught to taught it was to also connect to grounding, to breath, to being present. So there would be some like yoga asanas and breath work, but then at the same time there'd also be some, perhaps, the thing is there's a lot of crossovers, right? There's a lot of goddess pose is like a second position. So we'd be doing pliés somehow, which is a ballet thing, but in a yoga class.
Right, okay.
Still like getting it to be, getting your body connected and aligned, because that's the good thing about dance training, is the alignment that you get from ballet is like really, really good.
And that takes you through your yoga practice.
Yeah, sorry, I did talk a lot about my...
No, that's fine. It's your journey. It's your journey, and it takes as long as it takes. No, that's fascinating. All that crossover and, you know, the interest. It's thank you so much for sharing. So can you remember, out of interest, with both your trainings now, so dance training and say the yoga training, can you cast your mind back to, in fact, just before then, you said your first teacher training was a kind of with your friend, it was this crossover of the dance and the yoga. What made you decide to teach yoga as well? Did that just feel natural from teaching dance? Because you were benefiting from it as an individual. When did you realize you wanted to then teach the yoga element as well?
When I started, it was kind of by the fact that I started teaching in a yoga. So it kind of went a backwards way. So I got into the yoga industry through Dynamic Body, but then when I was in the yoga studios, I was taking classes more.
Right.
And then I was realizing that I wanted to learn more and to teach more and to bring in more of the yogic principles into my classes. And then I went to India as well for 3 weeks, and I didn't do a 200-hour thing, but I went to many different yoga classes and spoke to different gurus and different teachers, and just got different outlooks and different ways of practicing yoga. And that's one thing that I find the most inspiring as a teacher, is taking class. Because it's so easy to forget about my practice, because I'm always giving practice.
Absolutely.
And whenever I take a class, I'm like, oh yeah, this is why I love it. And it's because, and you forget the benefits, because you're not taking the class, you're providing. Providing the vibe. And it's like, just to re-ground. So really it's just like the experience of taking yoga classes and being, I don't know, the determination of finding things that are difficult, but sticking with it and slowly finding that it's not as difficult.
Finding contentment in, every moment, every being. Santosha. Lovely.
And I did more yoga training. It was a 50-hour thing, but that's when I met you. That was amazing. I loved that. And it was intense as well, because it was like 7 days in a row. All day. Power flow with some yin, which was, I really liked the yin part. And that was also when I was like, boom, this is the life, really. Like, both.
Yin and yang.
Yeah,
exactly. Yeah.
To just chill. And I really, when I have the chance I really like to take it slow. That's the thing with the classes I teach, they're quite dynamic. But I always give time in the beginning and the end to just like to ground and to breathe, and to, as much as I can, have chance to kind of allow people to just digest the work. Because I think it's quite easy with power flow, with yang, with anything that's quite dynamic. You kind of just like go, and then like
absolutely,
the music's intense, and then everyone's like feeling it, they're like boom, 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 and then you're like, you walk out the studio, you're like, it's like you need a moment to like boom. And I really got that from the yin and yang. And also just being around all those yoga teachers was just amazing. Just seeing.
It's a nice community, you know, the yoga community and the teaching community, because there was so many different experiences and stuff, so it's great. Okay, so coming back to your trainings now, we're always interested in, because you've said it at the beginning, you know, many white spaces. So on your teacher trainings, dance and yoga, can you recall how big the groups are, and then how many people of color were on those trainings, roughly?
So the first time I was when I was younger, it was a lot more diverse, actually. When I was at the place, at Laban, when I was like 14 to 18.
Okay.
It was very mixed. And also, I think it's because it was in Deptford, but people were coming far and wide at the time as well.
Okay.
So I was in Southeast, deep South, like the centre of Southeast London, pretty much. There was people from all over, and there was a lot of black and brown people. And then
as you got older, did you see it start to decrease?
Exactly. When I went to the Brit school, there were less, but there was still, it was because it's Croydon, it's still South London, right? So it was still quite diverse. Maybe like 40%, so quite big.
Okay, that's big.
In the school.
Big,
I think in the school. The dance strand maybe 30%, 25%, 30% in the dance.
And how big were the groups?
There were two classes of about, there were 60 people.
Okay.
Yeah, so I'd say there was at least 15, 20 people, like black people. So it was quite big, I think. I think I'm remembering it right. Yeah.
No.
And then at the place, it was a lot less. There was, so the place is London Contemporary Dance School. That's called the place.
Just that's near Euston, right?
Yeah, exactly. My first time when I was in first year, there were four. So there were 2 years, 2 classes, and that each class had about 25 people. So it was 50 people, 55 people, and I think there were like 5 black women and like 2 black men, 4 black men. So like 10 in total. Like
so smaller percentage.
Like mixed race as well. So it was like I'm not black people of color. But then when I joined again, because I took 2 years out, when I came back in my year, there was one Indian Asian guy, me and one other like a mixed race girl. It was small, like 4 or 5 of us. And now going back to the school, I think sometime in the year, it's hard to necessarily tell, but in the whole school of like 100 plus people, I'd say you could count the black people.
Are you still connected to the school then?
I teach now, but the good thing about
you teach. Okay, you teach at the place. Okay.
I've been teaching in the improvisation and contemporary technique, but there's more. When I was there was no black teachers. Yes,
I'm about to say. So you've taken the question from me. So that's great to see then, isn't it? Yeah.
So now there's a lot more black teachers, and I'm not going to lie. There was, I think, since the whole BLM thing, they suddenly they checked themselves big time.
And like a lot of industries did, like a lot of studios did, it's that's what happened. Okay, no, that's really interesting and great that you are one of the first black teachers there, because representation does matter.
Yeah.
So hopefully those numbers will start to change going forward.
Exactly.
Okay. So we're now going to move on to the wellness industry. And this is your view. When you think of the wellness industry, you know, I want you to think of if there are any highs that you have and any lows that you have. But I'd ask you to start with the lows and end on the highs. So what comes to mind for you when you talk about the wellness industry?
When I was thinking about this, I was thinking about the wellness industry and then realizing actually that more yoga, I feel like is one of the few, not like what I'm about to say. I would say when I think about yoga, it seems like a middle-class, elitist, posh thing that only privileged people can afford to spend £20 on a class 4 times a week to chill because they're stressed with whatever they're stressed with, or they want to get in shape or whatever. I feel like the lowest part of it is that it seems very, like, looking at the industry of how much a pair of leggings are.
I know. Yeah, exactly. Seriously. Yeah, exactly.
£100. £100 for one pair of leggings that you're sweating.
Exactly.
And you're going to need at least 3, like, if you want to do it more. Do you know what I mean? That's £300 on 3 pairs of stretchy trousers. Yeah, I think that...
I'm going to press pause. I'm losing you. Hold on a second. I'm going to press pause.
Yeah, so the amount of things that... Yeah, I guess it's the cost of what yoga industry is selling that you need to practice yoga, which is, for me, is like the complete opposite of what yoga is. It's not meant to be capitalist, really and truly, like... So I guess it's like, yeah, that. And I guess sometimes I think there's, you know, I think people can come to my class with this idea, but then they realize when they take my class, it's not just that they're focused on the body more than the 3, you know, mind and spirit. And that's not all of it, but sometimes I think sometimes that it can have a bit more weight on the physicality.
Yeah, what it looks like.
Yeah, exactly. And wanting to lose weight or wanting to, and I understand goals are healthy, right, in some ways, but also I feel like yoga is a nice place to get into a non-judgment part, you know, to not judge and to just be with yourself and to trust in the journey. So sometimes I think it can be a bit heavy on the goal image side of things. And I fight against that, considering I teach a very physical style. And I had something in mind, but I've forgotten what.
It's all right. You'll have a chance at the end. I always give you like a little recap in case there's anything you forgot. So those were your lows, £400 leggings and, you know, packaging it up as something that it's not. Do you have any highs of the wellness industry?
I think what can happen is that even though people are drawn to it for maybe the image or the physicality, when someone connects or meets a teacher that has a way of pulling it all in, suddenly the changes that people have change their lives. And I think that is a beautiful power. People can literally quit their jobs and leave.
You're talking about me, aren't you? Yeah. Yeah. No more HR. Yeah, exactly.
So like, you know, like that, I think, is a beautiful thing, that people can suddenly realize that they're not doing what they were meant to be doing and that they have a choice and they can change.
Yes, absolutely.
And I think the beautiful thing with more yoga, I think, is that it is way more inclusive than the other studios that I've seen. The demographic as well of the people that come are way more diverse.
Yeah.
I love the different, all the ages, all the sizes, all the genders.
Yeah.
Come to the classes, and it's great because, and also the fact that they're in these places like Lewisham, like like Bermondsey, like, I mean.
Yes, yeah, yeah,
so that they're in the neighborhoods where there may be,
yes, yeah,
it's harder for certain people to access.
Absolutely, yeah, yeah.
So I think that's a high part. I really enjoy teaching people when it's their first time ever.
Yes, yeah. Definitely.
And I can see them sweating and like on the verge of like stressing, and then by the end they're like, oh my God, that was amazing. It's like the journey that you can go through from the 0 to the 1 hour. By the end of it, even if you're struggling throughout it, it's the feeling at the end that makes it all worth it.
Definitely. It's pretty special, right? Okay, so what got you through lockdown? So we've had 3 now. When obviously this started in August, we had just the 1. But you know, we've moved on now. So were they different for you, and how did you navigate each of the lockdowns?
The first one that got me through, what got me through the first one was the sunshine.
Oh, yes, yes.
We were so blessed.
Tell me about it.
In that sense.
I think that was to ease us into it. Yeah.
Literally.
Yeah.
Going for walks and just sitting in the park, cycling on empty streets, and also having the time to dedicate to my practice. Like, I was feeling a massive absence of that in my life. I felt like I was focused on the hustle, and there was basically 0 space for my own, like, just time to chill, to meditate. So I picked up a lot of nice practices that I'm trying to still maintain, even though things are getting back to how they used to be a little bit. I'm still trying to maintain as much as I can. So like I was meditating every day, like sometimes an hour, sometimes, half an hour. I was doing tarot readings after each meditation most of the days. That really was like a beautiful skill that I started to foster. What's the word?
Foster.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. Excellent.
Yeah, and reading as well.
Yeah. Lovely. And were they different for you, the lockdowns, or were they kind of?
You know what? I forgot to say, the thing that got me through the first one as well was teaching online as well. That was
yeah.
That was actually a really nice, because that also is the difference from when you're in studio teaching people. You can do it half of one time and then kind of like sit up and look and give corrections.
Yes.
When you're online, all you can do is do it.
Then realize that, oh my God, I'm out of breath. I'm gonna have to like put in an extra child's pose. Yeah, exactly. For me. Yeah.
Exactly. So that helped me connect to my physical practice, and also bring community together. And people were reaching out to me and being like, please, when are you doing your classes again?
Nice.
That's the first time. But however, on the second lockdown, I felt like I was like Zoom fatigued. I feel like I was like, I got a lot out of it, and then it got a lot, like by that point I was like
too much. Yeah. There's that balance, wasn't it? Yeah.
So being able to, when studios were opening, and we had like limited capacity, that was so nice to just see people.
I know, it was strange, wasn't it? But it was like you saw them, but then you couldn't adjust them and you had to stay on your mat. And but it was definitely nice to see real people moving in front of you. Yeah. Okay, thanks for sharing that. So I have to ask you this question. So take your mind back to the killing of George Floyd, may he rest in peace. Can you remember, if this was your experience on social media, so George Floyd was killed, then obviously the Black Lives Matter protests happened, and there was lots of talk of people diversifying their feed. So did you get 1, additional followers, And did you get any approaches from studios trying to, increase the diversity in their teams?
For sure, followers, for sure, just people reaching out and asking questions. Some of these questions, I was like, surely there's other, like, I don't know, sometimes it was quite draining, I found.
Absolutely, that's the word. That is the word. Yeah.
To be representative of all Black people, because some friends or some people I knew, I was like the only, or like one of few Black women they knew. So then I felt like I became their charity case for a minute. There was some odd movings on between certain people, but I forgive and forget, it's okay. But in terms of being approached, there was actually this, I got approached by this person, this woman who was organizing, she was a white woman, it was called Moving for Minds, and it was for, specifically for people of color to enter. So she would like host these online festivals where you could lead workshops or classes to do with the body, or talks and stuff. And
okay.
For the Black, there was different like rooms. There was like a movement room, there was also a mindful room, and then there was like a healing room, and the healing room was only for Black people of color. Only the Black teachers got paid, and if you wanted to teach, you could. If you weren't Black, you just had to volunteer. So yeah.
Did you teach?
I did a few times.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
And I thought, yeah, like I thought it was a nice gesture.
Yes. Yeah. There was lots going on, some more performative than some, but some, as you say, great examples to give a platform to amplify the voice, to say, hey, look at these teachers, they are here. It's not all, whitewash. So it's nice to hear that balance.
Yeah.
Okay. So now you have an opportunity to promote whatever you'd like to promote. If you've got any workshops coming up, any teachings, where can we find you? What's happening for the rest of 2021 for you?
Sure thing. So, I mean, my regular classes for More Yoga are Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday.
Which studio?
Tulse Hill is Tuesday evening. It's a fitness flow class. Wednesday is a power flow and also a dynamic stretch, and that's in Bermondsey. And dynamic stretch is like more chill.
Okay.
It's the chill one.
It's not just more yoga classes, it's everything. Yeah, so this is your journey.
I just wanted to, for sure.
Do them first. Yeah, absolutely.
And then Thursday, I teach in Lewisham. I'm really happy about that because I'm from Lewisham. So
nice. That's nice.
Thursday evenings.
Nice big studio. Massive.
Yes, huge. I love it. And then at this next coming weekend, the weekend just passed actually. Because this is going to be aired after. So I just taught a workshop at a festival called Brainchild, and it's called Moving to Trust, and it's about trusting your body and trusting your instinct and intuition, and allowing the things that I suggest to just flow through you and see how that affects you, as with live music accompaniment. Basically improvisation, but just guided improvisation using tools to help facilitate people who may or may not be confident with movement to just allow their bodies to open and to trust themselves, really, and trust and there's this studio called Independent Dance. It's a part of Siobhan Davies' studios in Elephant and Castle. And I'll be teaching morning classes from Monday to Friday in October. And it's 10 a.m. till 12 p.m. And I'll be teaching some contemporary technique called flying low and passing through.
Oh, what's that? Flying low and passing through. Wow. Sounds like rocket on fire or something.
It has moments of fast, but we start slow.
Okay.
And it's about, like, in a simply put, it's different pathways to enter the floor and to exit the floor. So it's floor-based work, but it's about going in and out of the ground as efficiently as possible.
It's a 2-hour practice every day. 2 hours every day.
2 hours every day, yeah.
Okay.
With some yoga warm-up, like I incorporate all my practices within the class. Like I do a bit more body conditioning yoga in the beginning, and then it's just for October. Yeah. Okay. 5 days. From the end of October. Let me check the dates. Sorry, I've forgotten the dates. And that is it for now. Yeah. I'd love to be able to. So yeah, the 25th of October to the 29th of October, the last week of October. Last week of October. Okay. Lovely. And your social handles, where can people find you? I'm mostly active on Instagram, and it is Amarnah Ufuoma _ Cleopatra. And I know it's not the easiest thing to remember, but that's me, that's my name. So we have your name there on screen, so. Yeah, exactly. So yeah. Amarnah Ufuoma _ Cleopatra. And that's where all my kind of classes I put up, but also just like pictures, my work when I'm performing, my dance work, this kind of stuff. I'm also a singer, songwriter, so some of my music comes up. So yeah, I'm about to say, with the acting and the singing, what's next? What's coming up there? Yeah, I've got a month creation period in September to October, working with a company called Pell Ensemble, and there's 3 dancers working with composers and also like technologists working with how movement can move the sound. So we'll have this watch, like an Apple Watch, but different, which has a sensor in it, so that it's a 360-degree surround sound. And as we're moving, we can control the sound and where it comes and how. Oh, wow, really? Okay. So we're going to be creating this and developing it over 4 weeks, and then having a performance at the end of, in the middle of October. In December, I'll be working on a Christmas show, which is for families and children. Oh, nice. And it's going to be at the Place Theatre. So check it out in December if you want to bring your families. It's a fun interactive show called the Build the Uppy Dance Show, and we get people on stage with us. Nice. Creating and destructing the spaces. We've got basically loads of cardboard boxes that start off as a mountain, and throughout the show you have to break them down. Yeah, break it down and move it around. It becomes into a cave, it becomes a city, and meanwhile the children the boxes and creating, as well as there's dance in between and interaction. Do you have to bring a child? Sounds like I just want to come on my own. Don't have to bring a child. Okay, anything else coming up? That sounds loads going on. Oh, I should be releasing, I'm part of the collective called Scrapbook Mixtape, and we will be releasing our second volume, our second album. Should be September. Amazing. And I've got one song that I wrote with a friend of mine and a musician, Andrea Isabel Phillips, and Isfai. But there's also many other musicians involved. And what is your track? What style is it? What would I call my style? I guess this one is kind of like acoustic soul, I'd say. Yeah. Okay. And you want to give us a little rendition before we go? No. No. Okay. You're saving that for the go live. Yeah. No. We have a volume out already on Bandcamp, and it's volume 1. That's second one. Volume 1, Refuge, and that's Scrapbook Mixtape Bandcamp. You can find our first release, and my first single ever is on that mixtape as well. Amazing. And my artist's name is Queen Cleopatra.
the true meaning of multi-disciplinary artist.
Yeah.
It's been a pleasure hearing your journey. Thank you so much, Amarnah. And yeah, we'll look out for you on Instagram. Have a great rest of the year. And now you're watching on Catch Up, because this is going out live on premiere on the 9th of August. So not an opportunity to ask questions live, but please do pop them in Amarnah's Instagram, or you can put a question in the comment box and we'll come back to you.
For sure.
Take care. Thank you so much for watching. All the very best. So the very last yoga journey is coming up on the 23rd of August, and that is with our final yogi, Natasha Lee. So do please join in for the last yoga journey. More Yoga will still be holding space. Watch this space for what it is, but 23rd, the last one. Thanks again, Amarnah. Lovely to have seen you. Bye-bye. Bye.